The silence is finally broken. If you have been waiting all winter, counting down the days, ignoring your family, staring at a blank screen, just waiting for a timing sector to turn purple, that wait is over.
The engines are screaming again.
We are live, figuratively speaking, right in the thick of the action at the Bahrain International Circuit. It is day one of official preseason testing.
And let me tell you, this isn't a gentle, let's see if the wheels turn kind of day.
No, this feels heavy. The air is different this year.
It really is. The atmosphere in the paddock is thick enough to cut with a knife. We aren't just looking at a new season. We're looking at a fundamentally different grid.
You've got 11 teams now.
Exactly. Cadillac has joined the party. You have Audi taking over the Sauber entry. You have Lewis Hamilton in red. I mean, the chessboard has been completely upended.
6 days of running to figure out the truth, but day one has already given us a massive amount of data. 22 drivers, new manufacturers, and a pecking order that, quite frankly, looks a little chaotic right now.
And we have to be careful with these so-called testing truths, right?
Yeah, of course.
Teams run heavy fuel. They hide their true pace.
Yeah.
But there are clues, if you know where to look, that they can't hide.
Like what?
Reliability, how the car handles the bumps, and specifically where the drivers are struggling on track. That is what we are diving into.
Before we tear into the lap times, the spinouts, and all the drama, I do need to make sure we are all on the same legal footing here.
Go on.
This segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events.
Housekeeping done. Let's get to the asphalt.
Let's start at the sharp end. The heavyweights. If you thought McLaren was going to rest on their laurels after winning back-to-back Constructors' Championships, well, day one suggested otherwise.
They came out swinging. You look at McLaren's approach, and it's the definition of confidence. Oscar Piastri took the morning session.
And he wasn't just doing installation laps.
No way. Usually the morning of day one is just checking sensors, making sure nothing leaks. Piastri was pushing immediately. He ended up second fastest in that session, only 0.2 off Max Verstappen.
He looked fast, but he also had a bit of a moment with Lance Stroll, right?
He did. That was at turn 10. Now, for those listening who don't have the track map tattooed on their brain, turn 10 is a really tricky corner in Bahrain. It's off-camber.
So the track is sloping away from you as you turn.
Exactly. Gravity's trying to pull the car off the road. So Piastri got caught behind Stroll, had to take a wide line, and ran onto the dirt.
But he didn't box, did he? He just carried on.
No, and that's the key. He didn't panic. He just cleaned the tires and kept pounding out laps. 54 laps before lunch.
Yeah.
That shows he trusts the car.
But the real headline was the afternoon. Lando Norris, the 2025 world champion.
He steps into the car and immediately drops a 1.34.669.
That topped the timesheets for the whole day. It felt like a statement. I'm the champ. Catch me if you can.
It makes for a good headline. But here's the insight you really need to take away from McLaren's day. It wasn't just the speed.
It was the mileage.
It was the mileage. Between Norris and Piastri, they logged over 100 laps. In testing, reliability is pace. If the car is running, you're gathering data. If you are in the garage fixing a hydraulic leak, you're guessing. McLaren isn't guessing. They look incredibly polished.
Which brings us to the other heavyweight in the ring, Red Bull, the challenger.
It feels strange calling them that after their dominance, doesn't it?
It does. But that's the reality. Max Verstappen missed the title by 2 points last year. He was very vocal about hating that 2025 car.
And that is the context that should terrify the rest of the grid. Verstappen almost won the title in a car he described as miserable.
So now he's in the RB22. This is the new era with the Red Bull Ford powertrain. Everyone was wondering, will the Ford integration cause reliability issues? Is the engine ready?
And the answer seems to be a resounding yes.
A loud yes. Max did 136 laps on his own.
Just think about that for a second. That is more than 2 full Grand Prix distances in a single day.
That is absurd reliability for day one. Usually you see engines overheat or sensors fail.
Exactly. It tells us the Ford power unit is robust right out of the box. Max looked happy. He had a few moments, a lockup at turn 1 and a really spectacular save at turn 4 where the rear stepped out and he caught it instantly. But generally the car looked compliant.
And he finished P2, just marginally slower than Norris.
So day one, and we basically have a direct continuation of the war from last year.
McLaren versus Red Bull, P1 and P2.
It looks that way. They are the benchmark. They're the only two teams that look like they were running a refined program rather than just trying to survive the day.
Okay, let's pivot to the image that dominated social media today, the Scarlet Ferrari.
And inside it, for the first time in an official capacity, Lewis Hamilton.
It is still a shock to the system to see, isn't it? Lewis in red.
It is. But the debut didn't go strictly to plan. He's coming off a rough 2025, his first podiumless season in 19 years. A full 180-degree rotation.
Yeah,
that was a heart-and-mouth moment for the Tifosi.
And he did it again, later locked up at the exact same spot.
It wasn't the silky smooth Lewis Hamilton we are used to seeing.
Lewis played it down afterwards, didn't he? He talked about brushing off the cobwebs.
He did, and he has a valid point. The track in Bahrain on day one is what we call green. It's sandy, it's dusty, and the wind is unpredictable. Grip levels are very low.
So he's just sliding around.
He is, but I think we have to look deeper than just cobwebs.
How so?
Well, Lewis spent his entire career at McLaren and Mercedes. Those cars generally had very stable rear ends planted to the ground. Ferrari, historically, likes a pointy front end, which often makes the rear a bit loose or happy.
So you think this might be a fundamental adaptation issue?
It's the big question. Is the car unstable, or is Lewis fighting 20 years of muscle memory? Because if you look at the other side of the garage, Charles Leclerc had a very different afternoon.
Right. Leclerc took over for the PM session.
And he did 80 laps and finished third fastest overall.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to be fighting the car nearly as much.
Leclerc is a wizard at driving around handling issues, though.
He is. He actually prefers a loose rear end because it helps him rotate the car. Remember, aside from the big three of Russell, Max, and the McLarens, Leclerc was the only guy to snatch a pole position last year.
So the car clearly has pace.
Third fastest is solid. But the delta between how comfortable Leclerc looked and how sketchy Lewis looked is the narrative to watch. If Lewis can't trust the rear of that car, he can't push.
Speaking of struggling to push, let's talk about Lewis's old team, Mercedes.
The Silver Arrows.
They came into Bahrain with a lot of hype because they had a monster shakedown in Barcelona.
Right. And just to clarify for everyone, a shakedown is usually a limited mileage filming day. But Mercedes went hard in Barcelona. They did 500 laps.
Everyone thought, okay, Merc is back. They are bulletproof.
And then reality hit them in the desert.
It looked rough. George Russell in the morning managed 56 laps, but he was fighting the car constantly.
He ran wide at that tricky turn 10, 3 separate times.
When you see a driver of Russell's caliber missing the apex 3 times at the same corner, surely that's not just driver error.
No, that tells you something is wrong with the car balance. The front end just wasn't biting, it was washing out. And it didn't get better for the rookie, Kimi Antonelli, in the afternoon.
The kid everyone is watching, Antonelli took over, and his session was delayed, right?
Delayed because they were frantically changing the setup. They lost valuable trap time. He only managed 30 laps. When he did get out, he had a wild snap. At turn 4, almost lost the car.
Toto Wolff didn't mince words either. He said, it isn't smooth sailing.
Toto is usually pretty honest when they are in trouble. He specifically mentioned complications with car balance due to the hot conditions.
And that points to a specific, terrifying word in Formula One engineering.
Correlation.
Okay, let's unpack this. Correlation, we hear it all the time. Why is it the scariest word in the paddock?
So teams build the car in a virtual world using wind tunnels and computer simulations. Correlation is simply, does the real car on the track behave the same way the computer said it would?
And for Mercedes, it seems the answer is no.
In Barcelona, in the cool European winter, it seemingly did. But now, in the heat of Bahrain, which is representative of actual racing conditions, the car is behaving differently.
So they're flying blind.
If your simulation doesn't match reality, you don't know what to fix. You are flying blind. That is why not smooth sailing is code for we have a serious problem.
It's a very serious problem. But let's talk about the teams that are flying for the first time. We have 11 teams on the grid now. The American Dream Cadillac is finally here.
And Audi taking over the Sauber spot. It's a huge moment for the sport. Seeing that Cadillac crest on the nose cone, it feels significant.
Unveiled in NYC, looking slick, but looks don't equal lap times. How do they actually do on the tarmac?
Honestly, it was a mix of rookie errors and genuine promise. They have Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, 2 veterans.
Safe hands?
You think so? But turn 10 claimed Bottas. He locked up and careered into the runoff. And Perez had a massive double front lockup at turn 1. Just smoke everywhere.
It looked a bit messy on the broadcast. Lots of locked brakes.
It looked messy visually, but look at the lap counter. 107 laps. For a brand new team, built from scratch, to clear a century of laps on day 1 is a massive operational victory.
Because they're not stuck in the garage fixing things.
Exactly. Usually, a new team spends day 1 trying to get the engine to start or fixing a fuel leak. 107 laps means the systems are integrated. Bottas even said they're done with bug fixing and are shifting focus to performance. That is incredibly aggressive.
That is legit. Now, the other newbie Audi, or the team formerly known as Sauber, they have the Hulk.
Nico Hülkenberg, 250 races of experience. But even he wasn't immune to the day one jitters. Lockup at turn 1, ran off the road.
And then he stopped on track.
Yeah, the scary moment. With 2.5 hours left, that is the nightmare scenario for a new manufacturer. Reliability failure.
It looked bad for a second, but they fixed it faster.
They did. That's the key. They got him back out. Between him and Gabriel Bortoleto, who also had a spin at turn 1, they logged 122 laps.
More than Cadillac.
Exactly. So despite the stoppage, Audi's operational efficiency seems high.
I want to touch on the engine shuffling, because that was a big story today. Alpine is now running Mercedes Power. Racing Bulls is running the Red Bull Ford powertrain.
A real mixed bag there. Alpine. Oh boy. Franco Colapinto managed only 28 laps in the morning before stopping on track.
Teething troubles with the new engine.
Seems like it. Gasly salvaged the afternoon with 49 laps, but it's not a great start.
And Racing Bulls, using the same engine as Max.
Exactly, but with very different results. They have Arvid Lindblad, 18 years old, the only true rookie on the grid. He did 75 laps, which is great for a teenager, but his day was cut short by a fluid leak.
So the Ford powertrain is good in the Red Bull, but maybe not in the sister car just yet.
Yeah, it looks like an installation or plumbing issue they need to sort out.
Okay, here is where it gets really interesting for me, the surprises. Who won the narrative battle today? For me, it has to be Williams.
Without a doubt. You have to understand the pressure they were under. They missed the Barcelona shakedown entirely.
James Vowles called it the hardest decision of his career. They were the only team not to run a single meter before today.
Everyone thought Williams is in trouble. They're behind the curve.
And then they show up in Bahrain and absolutely crush it.
It's the comeback story of the day. Carlos Sainz, new to the team, topped the morning lap count with 77 laps. Then Albon adds 68 laps in the afternoon.
So, wait, let me get the calculator. That is 145 laps.
145 laps. The most of any team on day one. The team that had zero prep time came out and outlapped Red Bull and McLaren.
How does that even happen? Was skipping the shakedown actually a genius move?
It validates the modern approach to engineering. Vowles decided to sacrifice the physical shakedown to spend more time in what we call virtual validation, checking the car on the dyno rigs and in the simulator. It was a massive gamble.
If they'd shown up and a wheel fell off, they would look like idiots.
Instead, they look like geniuses. Their build quality is bulletproof.
That is massive. And quickly, shout out to Haas, Esteban Ocon, P4 overall, quietly deadly.
Over 100 laps for Haas as well. Ocon looked comfortable. Haas often start seasons strong because they buy a lot of proven parts from Ferrari, so they have a good baseline. P4 is a very happy place to be for them.
So let's look at the leaderboard rundown. We have Lando Norris on top for McLaren, Max Verstappen P2 for Red Bull,
Charles Leclerc P3 for Ferrari, Esteban Ocon P4 for Haas, Oscar Piastri P5.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the narrative is clear.
The title fight right now looks like a direct continuation of McLaren versus Red Bull. They are the benchmark. They are fast and they are reliable.
And the chasers?
Mercedes and Ferrari. They have speed, but they have handling gremlins. They are fighting the car. You can't fight for a title if you're fighting your own steering wheel.
And Williams proved that reliability is possible even with zero prep. An amazing story.
Exactly. We've seen the spins, we've seen the lockups, we've seen the fluid leaks. Now comes the optimization.
But I can't stop thinking about that image of Lewis Hamilton facing the wrong way at turn 1.
It sticks in the mind.
So here is the question I want you, the listener, to chew on before day 2 starts.
Yeah.
We saw the 7-time champ struggle to keep the Ferrari appointed straight while Leclerc put it in P3. Is Lewis Hamilton struggling to adapt to a new philosophy after 2 decades? Or is the SF26 a wild beast that only Leclerc knows how to tame?
And on the flip side, can Mercedes fix that correlation issue in the heat, or are they heading for another season of complications?
High-stakes questions, and we might get answers as soon as tomorrow.
We might indeed.
Listen, do not just watch the timing screens, live the testing. We are going to be breaking this down every single day. Make sure you are following DRS Zone on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
We are posting the aggressive updates, the onboard clips, the analysis you aren't getting anywhere else.
We're just getting started. The engines are hot, and the news is heating up. We will catch you for day 2 analysis. Lights out, and away we go.